Welcome to this installment of the Commonwealth of Learning's Open Education Week interview series, in which we'll discuss open educational resources and student advocacy. I'm Dr. Jako Olivier, Advisor, Higher Education. Joining me today is Gino Fransman, who is an academic developer and project leader of the Open Education Influences at Nelson Mandela University in South Africa. He's an avid champion for open education, student advocacy, and empowerment. He's an open course developer, has been a hub coordinator for UNESCO Open Education for a Better World program, and he's also the vice president of the board of directors for Wiki in Africa, and the winner of several awards for his work in open education. Welcome, Gino.
Thank you, Dr. Olivier. Jako.
Let me dive in. You've been involved in student advocacy and OER through the Open Education Influence Project. Can you explain what this involved?
Well, firstly, thank you. Thank you for having me. And yes, I've been involved for a while. And the Open Education Influences Project was initiated to empower students to advocate engagements with open education resources at Nelson Mandela University, nationally and abroad. So Open Ed Influences, or OEs for short, are thus ambassadors for open. They facilitate the adoption, creation, and licensing of OER, and they advocate for the use of open textbooks across purpose, faculties, and schools. So purpose, it doesn't matter what open is, there and open has a space. In 2019, we applied for a space in the Open Education for a Better World, or OE4BW program. And we proposed a collaborative creation of an online empowerment course. Fully online, participants would thus be able to engage in a guided, informative, and practical journey to, course name, Becoming an Open Education Influencer, or BOE. The aim was to support the online empowerment of more competent advocates and champions, each able to take direct actions for open, for education, and for working towards realizing the Sustainable Development Goals. So 6 modules were developed to assist with advocacy. These were open, Ubuntu, advocacy, facilitation, influencing, and the Sustainable Development Goals. Of course, Ubuntu is an African value system that emphasizes the interconnectedness of people and the societies. I am because we are. It has such wonderful and direct synergies with open education. And so the Becoming an Open Education Influencer course tries to connect it to a greater good, moving from local to national and to the world goals. The student advocates were empowered by doing. So they initially had to complete the Commonwealth of Learning's Understanding OER course. And thank you for that. That really gave us a solid foundation for where we would launch to next. They did so before we launched our curation and creation activities. And during this highly collaborative phase, which happened at the beginning of lockdown 2020, I mean, the world shut down and we were trying to open up, right? Our OEs became experts in open education, licensing with Creative Commons, and then facilitating others who were sometimes complete novices in the space, but they had these specialized skills that we really needed. So we needed to embed them within this discipline and community. And yeah, they participated in several conferences, helped to set up the open education colloquiums, interacted with experts in the open community, both nationally and around the world. The project and the OEs also won several awards for their work and their collaborations with universities and organizations alike. The results of these efforts are available in our open Moodle site called Engage here at Nelson Mandela University, and the OEs have all gone on to secure placements in the formal work sector.
Wow, that sounds very impressive. And congratulations with all the achievements with the OEs.
Thank you.
Moving on, what do you find to be the most exciting recent advancement in open education?
So, okay, I guess that because this is a series of these interviews, I think the expected answer here is likely to be artificial intelligence, AI. And that's probably true because it's exciting and scary at the same time. I do want to make a comment though that there's been a push towards DEI, like diversity, equality, and inclusivity, and open education, like for it to find some common ground. Um, and that push has been very well sort of presented on the global stage. For me, however, there's a lack of representation from resource poor spaces, and it makes it seem like that's a trend. It's a research trend instead of being a movement that would and should change things meaningfully. It's sad, especially in the very space that such a movement could have the most impact within. Given the current realities in politics that we're facing, DEI may very well DIE if we don't get this right. So let's look at open education anew.
This issue came up a number of times when we spoke about the localization,
Mm,
and in some of the other interviews. And the issue that comes up with the localization of OERs, that if there aren't enough resources put into these large language models from languages that don't have that many publications, then of course you can't get the same results. Translations will not be, sufficient. You can't have representation even of language varieties within languages. I mean, you're in South Africa, a very multilingual country. South Africa, there's at least some work being done. But in many other countries within the Commonwealth, it's not necessarily the case that all minority languages, as they're sometimes termed, and I think the issue is rather resource poor languages are accommodated. And I think there's the work for us within the open education movement, definitely.
I feel that so strongly.
Um, Last question. What linked to Commonwealth institutions regarding open educational resources and student advocacy?
A simple answer, and yet so complex.
Hmm.
However, I say get others involved. Invite me over. Really, like I'm willing. Let's set up a chapter of the influences in more spaces. The truth is, there's often just one or a couple of drivers of open education at institutions. So join the community. Why be there alone and in your silo? Do things together. It's a lonely role otherwise. Yeah. And this community is amazing. To me, the value of open education is about collaboration and working towards reducing barriers to accessing high quality resources. For me, this is for study, for work, for play, or to support lifelong learning. Just create a network of your own or join one of so many out there. Start small if you need to. Opening up won't happen overnight. We know this, but some things can be opened. Some things can be made more open. As you do
Um,
this, as you engage, consider student engagement and student employment skills as you do so. Students can create, they can repurpose OER for your context. They can speak in a language that other students find relatable and accessible. Doing this means that they pick up invaluable skills and knowledge that will set them up for better jobs, better achievements, and reveal a CV of things done when they leave the institution instead of things that they say that they've been a part of, and they'll have the outputs to prove it.
Thank you. I think that's great advice to our institutions. Thank you, Gino. I'm
You know,
Jako Olivier. Thank you for joining us. Thank you.